This 35-issue run is broken into two halves. The first is basically Baby's Day Out, but with Wonder Woman. Zeus is gone, so there's a two-part prophecy. War is coming, and the child of Zeus will slay one of the gods to take the throne for themselves. So everyone wants his lastborn, which is carried by a human called Zola, so Diana protects her with a motley crew. My personal favourite being Orion.
Talk while you still have a jaw.
Then in the second half, we basically get the bad ending. This travel show turns into a massive Greek horror epic where the bad guy wins and Diana has to call those she met along the way for a war. A war which pulls no punches. Wonder Woman, the most famous superheroine of all time, and yet she barely seems to work and is always thrown into the weirdest reinventions, from working at McDonald's to being a spy to giving everyone tinnitus. So the New 52 rebooted her with this guy, Brian Azzarello.
Azzarello, yeah, if you're Italian, that's the way you would pronounce it.
His vision effectively stripped out the sanitized, Disney-fied versions of the Greek gods from Wonder Woman's lore. So Zeus, instead of being a jolly old man who's a bit of a perv, now sleeps around and his wife Hera goes around killing his other kids. So basically it's a more accurate version of the Pantheon. You know Hercules and Megara, that lovely couple? Yet he killed her and their 3 kids in a fit of rage. Greek gods are more powerful than humans, but are also not any better than humans. They're as unjust and as flawed as you and not me. And that pessimism is what made them both prominent in Greek philosophical discourse and entertainment for normies back in the day. Chaos was seen as the beginning of everything, and something will return to. So where does Wonder Woman fit in? The feeling this run left me after binge reading it in 2 days was a pure sense of awe and wholeness. Everything in these 35 issues is consistent and prestigious. There's no event tie-ins or crossovers. The art, even when it's not done by the main artist Cliff Chiang, flow in style and in respect. Diana is never distractingly over-sexualized, and the violence is either tasteful or provocative in a way that's dramatically appropriate. Finally, the designs are just wow. This is Poseidon, this is Hades, this is Hermes. Azzarello's writing is so consistent that there's an oppressive darkness to the tone. It's eloquent, it's scandalous, it's raw, and within all the salaciousness, you have this beacon of light to hold on to. Before I ramble about New 52 Wonder Woman though, I think it's important to ramble about Wonder Woman as a whole, because she's a character with a very specific set of values and a very specific creative purpose. Her creator, psychologist William Moulton Marston, was an absolute lad who believed psychology was a force for good and tried to blur academics and popular culture. Wonder Woman was basically his vehicle to teach young boys bondage. Suffice to say, the principle he tried to promote was this thing called loving submission.
So it was the notion of loving submission, and it was the idea that some people like to be controlled, but what they need to be is controlled by somebody really nice. And ideally,
Which is a woman.
Yeah, ideally a woman who really loves you, cares about you, has got motherly, sisterly, the whole deal. And that was his view of the Amazons, that they'd evolved a society beyond men, based around the notion of loving submission.
As a result, Diana and her whole Paradise Island represented a utopian society of healers, warriors, philosophers, and people who genuinely weren't assholes. However, this idyllic vision had to be built on an idyllic vision of the Pantheon, where worshipping these gods was what made Themyscira more civilized. Brian Azzarello effectively dropped a nuclear bomb on all of this. If Zeus was really someone who turned into a bird and had an affair with the Queen of Sparta, then reconciling it with Wonder Woman's world would require injecting a level of ugliness and pessimism. In other words, loads of retcons. Now the Amazons are these crazy warrior people who grew their population by having orgies with stray sailors, then killed them, kept the girls and would have killed the boys if it wasn't for Hephaestus trading weapons for them. While Diana is now a product of an affair between Hippolyta and Zeus, and I was pretty fuming back in 2011. The New 52 robbed me of my happily married Superman, and now they tell me all of Wonder Woman's backstory is a lie. But within the big picture storytelling of all of this retconning wasn't for shock value or to appease some boomer editor. It all has a point. It's all part of the art. If I had to distill the theme of this run, it'd be about how love is lost by age. All the Greek gods are these beings of impulse and fiery want, because by being immortal, they're always blinded by the moment. As Hera said, but when Apollo made me mortal, something changed. It's hard to explain exactly, but it was as if my blood cooled down. Nows last longer, time slows experience. There's a piece missing in me that I don't miss. There's also a similar monologue from the God of War too. Do you know what it's like to be me? To exist on the precipice where life and death heave against each other? To be on an edge, then come to regard it as dull? Age either makes you indifferent or more selfish. Either way, you lose your capacity to care about others. And this is who the main bad guy is. Zeus's firstborn. He literally has no name and was the one the prophecy referred to. Zeus knew this and wanted this child dead, but Hera saved him by casting him off to the wilderness, where he was unloved and became rabid. He hates his parents and the gods, and doesn't have any other hobbies, so everywhere the firstborn goes, he destroys and leaves nothing behind. He doesn't know what love is, and is the absolute embodiment of nature's apathy. What else is there in nature? The world is what it is because it doesn't care what it is. There's no sentimentality in life. In contrast, Diana loves everyone indiscriminately. She literally says it when she friend-zones Hades. And it's important to stress that this is a very young Diana. She's not like 100 years old or something.
She's 5,000 years old, Barry.
She's very specifically 23, and that youth is what makes her different. She protects Zola and the baby out of sheer principle, because to her, all life is precious. And it's very much the fact that it's brief is what gives it meaning. The antidote towards this fire of malice and selfishness from time is love. Yeah, I know that sounds really corny, but the comic gets so dark that you actually take refuge in this. Diana's most powerful ability is this point of view, because even when the entire world proves her wrong, her unrelenting love for others wills love into existence through example. War scolds her for showing mercy, but then she blows his mind by pointing out that he showed mercy to her earlier. Even after Hera turned the Amazons into snakes and Hippolyta to stone, upon discovering Diana is, in fact, one of Zeus' bastards, Diana still shelters her and protects her when she's mortal. Therefore, when Hera gets her powers back, she becomes her most powerful ally at the end. Everyone is capable of being better, even if they're thousands of years old and they've lost sight of everything and are just driven by nature. Sometimes it's not best to be who we are, but who we aspire to be. Amongst all the changes made to Diana's lore, her fundamental DNA as a character is something that was very carefully preserved, and it's due to the filth around her that Diana can bring about change. Here's the speech she gives to the Amazons. We need to evolve. We've isolated ourselves to the detriment of our society and some of our children. The old ways, do they actually work anymore? Do we just cling to them because that's the way our forebears intended? We need to look at ourselves and open doors we've closed. And now is a good place to start. Wonder Woman pledges every Amazon to the protection of this baby boy. And as a result, everything changes. Wonder Woman, before she's a character with a lore and a franchise, was an idea. The notion of submitting to loving authority, the value of restraint, the value of mercy and empathy. These qualities aren't just key parts of her personality, but a message that her stories are built to deliver. So everything around her was designed to support it. What's really remarkable about New 52 Wonder Woman was how it was able to make this dramatically engaging by effectively stress testing this message. It tore away everything that could make believing in love easy. It took away Diana's sisters, her mother, her gods, her own origins, and even forced her to become the god of war. She broke down in tears, felt powerless, cornered, and was outmatched a lot. This run took everything away, and instead of having Wonder Woman compromise, break, or change, she said, no, I'm not gonna stop loving. The point is, I really enjoy these comics.
Staring at the wall, I know you really love the color. We picked it out over the phone. Remember what you said, but I could never tell the meaning. I try to see what I have been shown. Staring at the pictures now, I know they try to show me. I cannot see, but God knows I try. Believer of the mysteries, I try to find a way not to cry.
So yeah, that was the New 52 Wonder Woman video. I made this because I wanted to diversify out what sort of videos I'm making, so it's not just about animated movies and the DCAU. And also I wanted to just make something different that wasn't just a video essay with an academic focus. Anyways, I'm gonna start reading the Finch and Rucker stuff after this, so might be a video on that at one point. Anyways, special thanks to everyone on Patreon. You guys rule, and I'm gonna give you some more updates.